Good morning. This is Dolly De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your morning news.
The top story on Gold FM.
Headlines. Fairly heavy showers forecast for today. Fatal shooting in Bihivela. Heating of Sahanayatra continues for 9th day. And in news overseas, Zelensky signals progress in talks on peace plan.
Headlines on Gold FM. Top story on Gold FM.
The death toll from the floods and landslides is now officially 618, with 209 people still missing. The Disaster Management Centre confirmed yesterday that over 2 million people are affected. Meanwhile, the northeast monsoon is establishing itself, bringing a continued threat of rain. The Met Department expects moderate rain of over 50 millimetres this afternoon in the western Sabragamwa, Gaul and Mathura districts. Meanwhile, the National Building Research Organisation, extended red landslide warnings until 4 p.m. today for high-risk areas in Kandy, Kegul, Kulinagali, Mathura and Norelia. Other areas of the island also face landslide warnings. Level 2 warnings are active in Badulla and Ratnapura districts, and Level 1 warnings are active in Colombo, Gulu, Gambaha, Kalitara, Mathura and Mundaragala districts. Furthermore, officials advised 48 people from 8 high-risk families in Balanguda to evacuate due to dangerously unstable rocks above the Dore Valley Bridge. As residents in areas like Nigoda and Kolanava begin the massive cleanup effort, they face environmental hazards from accumulated waste and power outages, urging authorities to address the debris. With access and accessibility during natural disasters always a question, some flood victims allege that they are not receiving any government assistance whatsoever. Meanwhile, in external support news, the 9th Indian aid flight arrived yesterday afternoon, carrying a crucial 110-foot-long Bailey Bridge and 13 engineers from the Indian Army to assist with rebuilding damaged infrastructure.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
The Road Development Authority announced a significant achievement, confirming that over 85% of the roads blocked due to the recent disaster are now open for traffic. The Director General of the RDA, Vinay Kadambe, stated at a press conference yesterday that the authority expects to have all damaged roads fully opened for vehicular movement by the end of next week. Despite the progress, the section of the Colombo-Kandy Main Road between Ganathanna and the Kaduganava Police remains closed nightly from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. as a continuing safety precaution. Health authorities are warning that highly contagious eye diseases could easily spread to the concentration of people in crowded areas following the flood disaster. The Health Promotion Bureau stressed that the infection is highly contagious and spreads rapidly. To curb this potential outbreak, the Health Promotion Bureau issued a strong public advisory, including several key preventative measures. This includes frequent hand washing with soap and water, disinfecting frequently touched surfaces, covering the mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing, avoid touching the eyes, and not sharing personal items such as towels and pillows. With diseases like rat fever also more likely to spread, authorities are urging both people affected by the floods and those going for their aid to maintain the highest hygiene levels possible under the circumstances. President Anwar Kumar Dissanayake visited the chief prelates of the Marathi and Askari chapters yesterday to receive blessings. The President called upon the chief prelate of the Marathi chapter, the Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thera, and the chief prelate of the Askari chapter, Most Venerable Varkagoda Sri Jnanratan Thera, and briefed them on the government's comprehensive program to provide urgent relief to the population affected by the current disaster situation. The Hero Media Network's Hero Sahanayatra operation, conceptualized by Chairman Venus Silva, is now active for a 9th consecutive day, providing essential humanitarian aid to the disaster-affected population. The initiative gained significant corporate backing, with LOLC Holdings joining the effort. Throughout yesterday, essential food and supplies were distributed to affected communities in Kandy, which is Ududumbara and Milpe, as well as Homagama. The problem of policy inconsistency is severe in Sri Lanka, to the extent that it prevented the implementation of key legislation in the past. Further, the fate of the Economic Transformation Act, which outlined policies for a developed Sri Lanka by 2047, is unknown. These thoughts were expressed by Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, R.H.S. Samaratunga, as he addressed a webinar themed Managing Public Finance, the South Asian Experience, organised by the Pathfinder Foundation. Samaratunga first commented on how electoral cycles lead to policy inconsistency and the lack of a consensus between all political parties for a common objective is affecting growth.
The consistency provisionals in this country has never existed for 5 to 6 years in the electoral cycle. The two parties get change all the time. And they have, of course, the means to the economic management in this country, following ethics. Until they come to the thing, we thought that after the big strike is over, the parties will come together to look at the work program of this country, but it also didn't happen. It's the regional democracy and the price that we have paid. Now that we have another crisis in the entire price of about 20 out of 25 districts in this country, which we haven't seen. That will be known to anybody, after some months. The consistency is a must, as we have seen in the certain countries in Southeast Asia. At the same time, there are wages coming from the external tight, small economy. Without the consistent policy, these wages will certainly hit us. Like what we saw in 2022, the debt crisis. One government says something, the government says a different thing, that they before the people, and at the next cycle, someone else is going to be there. This we cannot always be a democratic system. There is no way to do it. But we can at least agree, or we want to certainly go at the societal level. Why we know the major political parties in this country need development goals. The way to reach them, strategies, source, could be given at least the major development goals.
He then commented on the Economic Transformation Act, which the government is yet to implement.
In India, you have for India completely 100 years after independence. They have the Rixit power. It's a very elaborate program, I think it's shared by everyone in India, each major political parties in India. That would be the minor difference, but they have another goal to become the advanced country by 47. Likewise, on which basis we thought that our country should work some project towards that, for which we want this transformation bill at the Parliament. So I don't know the fate of this one, with the change of Parliament. There are things which change over the time. Even there are so many pieces of legislation in this country which go on the ground because of the position.
A 34-year-old man was killed in a shooting that occurred last night near the Egg playground in Bihivilla. The police media division confirmed the victim died upon admission to the Kollegorvilla hospital. The incident occurred when the assailants arrived at the victim's house, though the immediate motive remains unknown. Police strongly suspect that the shooting is the result of a long-standing feud between two organized criminal gangs. Further investigations are underway, and it was reported last night that one suspect was arrested.
Now for some news in brief.
The hotline 1904 was introduced by the Office of the Commissioner General for Essential Services to facilitate public complaints regarding the accessibility of essential services.
The business news on Gold FM.
The Export Development Board launched an urgent comprehensive relief and recovery program to combat the severe impact of the recent adverse weather on the nation's crucial export sector. The plan was discussed in a meeting attended by Chairman and CEO Mangala Vijay and Secretary to the Ministry of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development, Tilaka Jayasundara. The Chairman emphasized that immediate strategic interventions are underway following comprehensive damage assessments. The focus is on minimizing operational disruptions, mitigating the impact on production capacity, and re-establishing supply chain connectivity. A key priority is working closely with customs, port authorities, logistics providers to accelerate export clearances. Furthermore, special government attention is being directed towards assisting small and medium enterprises in rapidly restoring their operational capacity. Looking ahead, the EDB stressed the urgent need for proactive, sustainable responses due to the growing frequency and intensity of climate-related challenges.
International news on Gold FM.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed he held a very constructive phone call with United States President Donald Trump's peace envoy Steve Witkoff and US President's son-in-law Jared Kushner. In an ex-post, he stated his government is determined to continue working with the US to genuinely achieve peace. He added that the key focus of the discussion was how to ensure that Russia would adhere to any potential deal to end the war and, quote, eliminate the threat of a new Russian full-scale invasion, unquote. Ukrainian officials joined the call from Miami, where they are engaged in a third day of talks on US-led efforts to engineer a peace deal with Russia. The diplomatic efforts come despite the fact that Moscow does not appear to have made any concessions. Ukraine's allies in the European Union offered renewed support. French President Emmanuel Macron posted on social media that he had spoken to Zelensky and offered his full solidarity.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Hollywood icon and activist Jane Fonda spoke out against Netflix's $82.7 billion move to acquire the television, film and streaming assets of Warner Brothers Discovery, calling it a catastrophic event. In a statement released via her Committee for the First Amendment organization, Jane Fonda warned the acquisition represents a, quote, alarming escalation of the consolidation that threatens the entire entertainment industry, the democratic public it serves, and the First Amendment. The Oscar winner demanded the Justice Department and state regulators, quote, categorically refrain from using that power to extract political concessions that influence content decisions or chill free speech, unquote. Finally, addressing Netflix and other involved companies, Jane Fonda urged them to defend rights and not trade them away to pad pockets, stressing that it is critical that these companies remain strong.
Sports News on Gold FM.
Lankha delivered a superb performance in the ILT20 tournament in Dubai yesterday, claiming the Player of the Match award. Representing the Gulf Giants, Lankha smashed a blistering 67 runs off just 31 balls, an innings featuring 5 sixes and 6 fours against the Dasan Shankar-led Dubai Capitals team. His explosive batting was instrumental in securing a 4-wicket victory for the Gulf Giants. That's it for now. This is Dunya De Silva for Gold FM. Thank you and stay safe.